Hey guys, we're going to talk about social interaction today. So, what is social interaction? Well, we do it all the time, whether it's face to face or via technology or, just through words, through texting or Snapchat or whatever it might be, whatever the app might be. But it's, how we act and react in relation to other people. So we act and respond to other people. And along with that, in this chapter, you've got some other key terms like status. It's a socially defined position that a person holds, and it comes with certain expectations, certain duties, and maybe certain rights or privileges as well. And with status, you've got two different types. You've got achieved and ascribed status. Um, with this, you think about the chapter that we just went over on stratification. They talked about achieved stratification system and ascribed stratification system. It's the same thing here. You have an achieved status and you have an ascribed status. Scribe status is a position given to you at birth, involuntarily. You have to take it. Whereas ascribed is something you accept voluntarily, something that is done through your own efforts and abilities. So, it's really simple, straightforward to the point. But there's another status. There's something called a master status, and that master status is different for each individual because a master status is the most important status a person holds. So, like, for one person, their master status might be a mother. Again, I apologize. But one person's master status might be a mom. Like, mom would be a professor, teaching college students. Some people, their master status might be in the military. So, it just differs from person to person. Some people might have the same master status, but it's unique to each person and to their life. And it can. One thing I also do want to mention is that it can change um, over the course of your lifetime. You might have one master status when you're younger, have another one in your, you when in your college years. If you're in college, your master status is probably a college student, unless of course you're a parent. Then I would definitely say that being a parent is your master status. But it changes over the course of your life depending on your circumstances. Um, and with these statuses, you have roles, and those are expectations that come with, with a status. So, like for instance, as a student, I'll use you guys as an example. As a student, you have certain expectations. To make sure you attend class. If we're talking about, non-COVID time. Attend class, make sure you pay attention, take notes, do the work, communicate with the professor. There are a lot of expectations, a lot of roles that you have whenever it comes to that. So, um, we'll move forward here. Okay. I have a few more terms I want to talk about. There's not a ton whenever it comes to this chapter, because usually this chapter and another chapter are combined, but this textbook did it differently. But anyways, the next term is dramaturgy or dramaturgical analysis, and that's like comparing life to theater. So like people who use this, they study everyday interaction and they compare it to a theatrical performance. And if you think about it, it's true. We all have a script that we follow. We all go through different scene changes, different costumes and props. So really, life is like a play in a way. It really is. We create an impression for our audience. Some people might have a certain impression they want to create based on different situations. Like somebody might want to what's the word I'm looking for? Someone might want to come off as very intelligent, very important, very high ranking in one instance, and maybe in another instance, they just don't care. They're not worried about that. Where you think about politicians, there's always a certain type of expectation that they want to get from people. They want to present themselves in a certain way. We always add new lines and add them to our script. As we get older, each year that goes by, we learn things. We add things to our knowledge base and also to our script, quote unquote. Um, I just mentioned before, as far as wanting to project a certain image to people, especially someone like politicians. We use props and symbols to reinforce our roles. So, like, if you wanted to, somebody's like, well, are you a student? And you would say, yeah. And they'd say, okay, well, can you prove that to me, or can you reinforce that for me? You might have a backpack, you might have textbooks, notebooks, whatever it might be. So we all use props, and it changes as far as the situation goes. What we present in one situation will be different than what we present in another situation. So, we definitely manage our impression, and we try to create certain impressions for specific people for specific situations. And when it comes to interaction, we have front stage behavior and backstage behavior, and this is also another part of dramaturgy. We refer to front stage behavior as scripted behavior that we show in public, that we want to use to create an impression for somebody, or to multiple people. Whereas backstage behavior is it's behavior that might not be appropriate in public, or maybe just not something you want to show in public. A way to show this is whenever I always use the example of a waitress, or a server. Excuse me, however you want to term it. But they might be waiting on a table where the people are just really rude or really arrogant and just very unpleasant to deal with. But with it being your job, you have to continue to, if not act nice, at least be cordial and, not cause a big scene about it, or not, whatever the case may be. So that would be your front stage behavior. But then you might go back into the kitchen around your coworkers, and you might complain about them, or just be like, oh, I can't stand them, they are so arrogant, or whatever it might be. You might be saying things to your coworkers that you want to say to the table, but you can't, because if you want to keep your job. So that would be your backstage behavior. And there are countless other examples, but the server, waiter, waitress example is something that is very easy to show that, to depict that. All right, personal space. We interact. Some people love their personal space. Some people don't. Some people need to learn the concept of personal space. With COVID, with this pandemic going on, we have to social distance. So I think more people are learning what personal space is, actually getting a sense of it, but at the same time, there's still going to be plenty of people that don't. You'll have people that get right up in your space, people that, when they're talking to you, you have to be like right here, and to where you're almost smelling their breath, and sometimes that's definitely not a good thing. Some people, like to hug others, whenever some people don't like to, so it's really interesting. And when I'm out in public now with COVID going on, I'll always make sure I social distance if I'm standing in any kind of line. But then there are people who I see who will be like this, and I'm like, dude, why are you not social distancing? Like, you're standing that much closer to somebody. I'm like, if that was me you're standing that close to, I would be very uncomfortable. Just because I don't like people standing close to me anyways, but also during this pandemic, it's really important to give people their personal space. So there's still plenty of people who need to learn about social distance and personal space. Hopefully they will, but some people are just a lost cause, unfortunately. But I'm definitely somebody that likes my personal space. Like I said, if somebody is like really close to me in line, whether it's during COVID or before COVID, it doesn't matter. I always get anxiety. I'm like thinking, please back up. Don't get that close to me. I don't want you in my space. I don't want you in my bubble. But that's just how I am, and I'm sure many of you are like that as well. And one other thing I want to mention when it comes to interaction is nonverbal communication. And that we know what nonverbal is. It's instead of using words like I am now, you use facial expressions, body posture, and gestures. So, like for instance, when it comes to facial expressions, if I'm doing this, I'm happy, or I'm like, you might say, oh, he's trying to act like he's happy, but he's not. No, but usually when you smile, that means one thing. Or if I look at you like this, like that might mean disgust or anger. I don't know what kind of face that was just now, so I apologize for that. But if I were to do this, if I were to roll my eyes, that would usually signify I'm angry. If I give you a thumbs up, that usually means good job or okay. If somebody gives you the middle finger, we all know what that means. If I'm sitting here like this in class with my face against my hand, just slouched forward, usually means I'm bored, or I definitely don't want to be there. Whereas if I'm sitting up straight, and watching and keeping eye contact and really listening, I mean I'm paying attention. I just had a really good one in mind, and I just literally forgot it. Like, that's how quick stuff goes out of my mind sometimes. I lost it, and it was a good one too. But anyways, but that's nonverbal. We know what that is. But that's all that's on this chapter for as far as what I'm going to go over for social interaction. So I will see you guys later.